Hello, we're excited to show you our native speech capabilities.
Where you can direct a voice, create realistic dialogue, and so much more. Edit these placeholders to get started.
It's interesting how stress has slowly become such a normal part of our lives that many people don't even question it anymore. And instead of asking why they feel tired or anxious all the time, they simply accept it as something unavoidable that comes with being an adult in today's world.
Yes, and what's worrying is that people often feel guilty when they are not busy, as if resting or doing nothing for a while means they are wasting time or not being productive enough, even though rest is actually necessary to stay healthy and focused.
I've noticed that many people plan their days so tightly that there's no space left for unexpected moments, simple pleasures, or even basic needs like proper meals or quiet time. And this constant rush slowly turns into mental and physical exhaustion.
That's very true, and I think this problem starts early because even students are under pressure to perform well, plan their future, and be successful, which means that stress becomes part of life long before people even enter the workplace.
When those students later become adults and start working, they already believe that stress is normal, that being busy all the time is a sign of success, and that slowing down means falling behind others.
And once people start working full time, especially in competitive environments, they often feel that they must always prove themselves, which leads to longer working hours, less rest, and a constant fear of not doing enough.
Another issue is that many people take their work problems home with them. So even when they are physically at home, mentally they are still at work, thinking about emails, unfinished tasks, or possible mistakes they might have made during the day.
I've experienced that myself, and sometimes I realized that I was sitting with my family or friends, but not really listening to them because my thoughts were somewhere else, which affected my relationships without me noticing at first.
Yes, stress doesn't only affect our work performance, but also our personal lives. Because when we are tired and overwhelmed, we often become impatient, less understanding, and emotionally distant from the people around us.
Technology has made this situation even more complicated because while it allows us to work faster and communicate easily, it also removes the clear line between work time and personal time, making it harder to switch off mentally.
For example, many people feel the need to keep their phones close at all times, even during meals or before sleeping, because they are afraid of missing an important message or being seen as unresponsive.
This constant connection creates a feeling that work is never really finished, and that no matter how much you do, there is always something else waiting for your attention.
Social media also plays a strong role here because it creates unrealistic expectations about success, happiness, and lifestyle, which can make people feel dissatisfied with their own lives, even when they are doing well.
People often forget that social media shows only selected moments, not everyday reality, but emotionally, those images still influence how people see themselves and their achievements.
When we talk about work culture, it's important to mention that in many societies, taking breaks or asking for flexible hours is still seen as a weakness, especially compared to working long hours without complaining.
Yes, and in some workplaces, people feel pressure to stay late simply because others are staying late, even if there is no real reason to do so, which creates an unhealthy cycle.
Over time, this culture can lead to burnout, where people feel emotionally drained, lose motivation, and struggle to find meaning in their work, even if they once enjoyed it.
Burnout is especially dangerous because it doesn't happen suddenly, but develops slowly, so people often ignore the early signs until it becomes very difficult to recover.
That's why it's important to talk openly about mental health and stress, and to normalize conversations about feeling tired, overwhelmed, or in need of support.
From my experience, small changes can make a big difference, such as setting clear boundaries, planning realistic schedules, and accepting that it's okay to not be available all the time.
I agree, and I also believe that learning to say no politely but confidently is an important skill, because without limits, work and responsibilities will always expand to fill all available time.
Another helpful habit is learning to recognize personal warning signs like constant tiredness, lack of concentration, or irritability, and taking them seriously instead of ignoring them.
Rest doesn't always mean doing nothing. Sometimes it means doing something enjoyable, creative, or calming that helps the mind relax and recover from daily pressure.
It's also important to remember that everyone's balance looks different, and what works for one person may not work for another, which means there is no single perfect solution.
In the end, work-life balance is not about perfection or strict rules, but about awareness, honesty with yourself, and making choices that support both your responsibilities and your well-being.
If people learn to value their health as much as their productivity, they may not only feel better, but also perform better in the long run.
We hope that this conversation encourages listeners to reflect on their own lives and think about small changes that could make their days a little healthier and more balanced.
Thank you for spending this time with us. And remember that slowing down is sometimes the most productive thing you can do.